Hello, folks. Welcome back to Al's Joint, my podcast dealing with political and social justice issues. Today, we're going to be up in Southwest Pennsylvania, Pittsburgh area, and also in Southwest Ohio, the Xenia area, talking with some everyday middle-class working Americans. So let's take the gloves off and let's get at it. I'm here in Xenia, Ohio, talking to a longtime union activist, Dennis Painter, about the effects of the current Trump administration will have going forward on labor unions. Dennis Painter, how are you? Thanks for getting on my show.
I'm glad to be here. Thanks, Al.
Do you want to do a quick history on your time in the labor movement?
Well, I can tell you right now, I'm no college grad. I'm considered probably middle class America, all across America. And I started out in Virginia in a factory, got involved in the labor movement because of the oppression and lack of fairness within the facility. And from there, I went to work for a union and spent my life trying to make things better for the working class.
A couple personal things. Are you a gun owner?
I am. I have a gun owner.
Are you a hunter?
I absolutely am a hunter.
And would you consider yourself conservative, liberal, midstream?
I don't know that those labels really fit. If you're an American, you're an American. That's the way I look at it. And Americans have the right to have differences of opinion, different thoughts. Democracy requires differences of opinion, different thoughts. The key is being able to merge those together into one. And I'm concerned that that's not happening now.
So what effect do you think some of the policy changes this current administration and are implementing will have on Southwest Ohio?
Well, one we're already seeing is an anti-labor, anti-worker attitude from the administration. Vice President J.D. Vance is from Ohio, and currently they're pushing Senate Bill 1 through, which will prohibit professors and faculty from striking, will limit diversity training, will limit what they can teach, will restrict any political discussion that they may have unless it's approved by someone outside of the college.
Mr. Painter, could you touch on some of the labor fears that folks are having as far as locally or
Well, I think if we take one of the myths that's being put out there, and I'm going to talk about the tariffs, people need to think about what that really means. Trump is saying that the tariffs is going to be good for America. Well, what's going to happen is, and has already happened, is other countries have implemented tariffs, which means there's going to be less product, imported and exported, which means there's going to be less jobs, which means companies are going to be laying people off. And that's going to be less taxes coming into the system. That's going to be more strain on the unemployment. People with mortgages is going to fault on mortgages, and it's not going to be good for America. Now, Trump tried this in his first term. He had the third biggest deficit in the history of this country, and Abraham Lincoln was number one. George W. Bush was two, both of those because of wars, and Trump's was because of tariffs, because it reduced the tax base in this country. He hurt America through his tariffs, and it's going to hurt America again.
Well, thank you. Hello, folks. Welcome to this segment of our podcast. We're in Western PA in the great city of Pittsburgh, where we're going to talk to three community activists. We have Frank Garnett, a retired firefighter, a veteran of the Gulf War. Mr. Garnett recently had a mild stroke, but he agreed to be on our podcast and have this discussion. Despite that, we appreciate that. We have Levi Taylor, who has over 3 decades in the youth rehabilitation system in the Pittsburgh area. We have Terry Mims, also been a part of the youth rehabilitation system in the city, but he's also been a part of a lot of programs trying to get our children, our youth, to go in the right directions. So let's get started.
Frank Garnett, retired firefighter and ex-military.
Levi Taylor, 20 years at the Humble Breast YMCA, 16 years Schumann Juvenile Detention Center, 3 years at Resolve working with mental health.
Terry Mills.
So, gentlemen, we're here today to address or to have some discussion about what's going on in politics in Washington, what effects it may have on your lives, on your community, on your children, on your parents, on your friends, your neighbors. So we just want to get some input on what you think the outcome of this election may do or what effects it may have in your lives. This is not a formal discussion. It's an informal discussion. So if you have any input, you can say it. If somebody else wants to chime in, wants to add to it, debate it, then we're good. Okay. We'll start with you, Mr. Taylor.
I feel the election right now is defunding a lot of youth programs. From the 60s, the 70s, through the 80s, the money was big then, it's getting less now, and there's a lot of programs that's not receiving any funding. I see in different communities, people of color, their programs, they have to share the money, which makes it harder for you to provide services for the people in the community.
Yeah, it's been going on for a while. I feel that we need to, as a family, we need to get our core back together and step away from politics for a while, because our families are so broken from the past generations and all the assault they put on us, because that's what I call it. And we need to really get back with each other, because we're losing our family members and everybody's splitting up, going their different ways, and then we're easy targets. But if we everybody stick together, then we'll be able to build together. And then it won't be that much of a trauma to us as they take these programs from us, because we're missing that dynamic, the whole family.
Well, I mean, first of all, as far as effects in my field, there's automatically a sense of feeling the effects because the funding.
So, Mr. Taylor, we were addressing the system, and we're asking you, did you think that the system worked? Is it really meant to correct people's behavior?
No, it's just the system has failed. There's too many flaws in it. There's no programs in there to help these kids to work their way back to be independent or just start thinking as a regular human being. You just house them in like sardines in a box, and there's no guide. No, instead of working on a craft, a trade, or something while you're in there, so when you get out, you can go right back to regular school. Nah, you're already behind. You're already 10 steps behind. The program is doing nothing but housing them. They get paid off of each kid that get locked up.
Just like the county.
So they're not rehabilitating people.
Nah, it's not designed to rehabilitation. It's more discipline and structure. And then when you can't get that, then you get penalized more.
I believe it's all part of the depopulation, man. They're just trying to get rid of everybody, to be honest. Like when we were younger, I was at Bethesda Church and he was at the Y. We had Young Life. He was able to go to camps. He was taking trips. They took all that funding from us at a young age. I was around, 15? And all that left. So I ended up in the streets. I didn't have nowhere to go. The only place I had was the Y. You know, even that has changed now to where when I was younger, I could just walk in and have to have a membership. But now they're saying that you have to come in. I don't care if you're 5, 6, whatever. You can't just come off the streets, you know what I mean, go to the gym. You have to pay. Your parents have to have a membership. It was never like that. You know, I feel like that's part of all the money, and now it's all a business. So they just want to make money, but they really don't want to help. Because I really don't know the program.
It went from non-funding to profit. For profit now. And Pennsylvania is the lowest unemployment rate in the United States, Western Pennsylvania. So you're looking at a profit, non-funded community. And you're trying to strive, and that's the hardest thing you're trying to do when people, they're looking for jobs. They ain't looking for coming in to work out because they're stressing about work. That's where your mentals come in. And there's nothing in we have stuff in the community, but you never know nothing about it because Europeans come to our community to get mental health treatment. And right down the street, we got somebody named Regina or somebody, same mental health problems. They'll refuse her from coming in, but you'll bring somebody from Mount Lebanon, Bethel Park to our community because they didn't want this program out in their community to get service. So we stereotype you off your first impression. So if you come in and looking like a bum, we're going to treat you like a bum instead of just treating you like a human being. But that's the way they're taught and they're brought up, and I see it every day.
Answer this question for me, gentlemen. Did you grow up in a church? Did you gentlemen grow up in church?
Yes.
In the Baptist church?
Yes.
We had to go to church.
And what do you think the church's role has been in helping to save the youth?
I think, from my perspective, I think that the church has failed. It's a failed situation there because, like Levi said, it's all for profit.
Touching base on the church and what role they have to play and pushing back against this administration and pushing back on some of the things that are happening in our community that we can't get resolved. So, what do you guys feel about that? What's your inner thoughts?
Today, to me, is churches are the new pimps. And the reason why I say that is when we was growing up, churches did more community things. You could be like, we had a preacher in our neighborhood named Reverend Darkins. They did more stuff for the community, him himself, hand in hand, giving out food, helping people get jobs.
Trying to stop the violence.
Yeah, stopping the violence. Today, they hiding in their sanctuary, taking money, especially ripping off the elderly. I mean, you know, we get so brainwashed and things that's going on in the community, the preacher's more the problem than it is. If you're not out here on the street pavement, don't tell me what to do. You come out here and help me do it. Show me the type of action that you want to get done. Nobody's doing that anymore.
Thank you, gentlemen. I appreciate your input.
My man.
What's up?
This episode of Al's Joint is brought to you by Jackpack.
Folks, we'd like to update you on what has been a heart-wrenching story on what we believe were the murders of teenage twins, Quadir and Nazir Lewis, in Towns County, Georgia. It's been reported that a volunteer firefighter, one Scott Curlin, took pictures of these teens' bullet-ridden bodies and circulated them on the internet. And local teens in that county continually circulated them on their phones at school. And it came to the attention of a teacher who reported this vicious act. This Scott Curlin, who looks like a Ku Klux Klan member, and I hate to label folks that, but who had the audacity to think that he would add to this family's pain by taking pictures of their dead children and circulating them. He was arrested, but there's a bigger question here. If Towns County thinks it's okay to circulate the pictures of dead Black teenagers, then is it hard to believe that they would cover up the murder of these Black teenagers? Folks, we can't let these incidents go unchallenged. Trumpism, racism, Nazism is trickling down into the fiber of this country. And it's going to get worse before it gets better. And it's only going to get better if we stand together and fight back. Good Republicans, good Democrats, good independents. We need to stand up to this. We need to fight back. Okay, folks, if you like today's episode and you want to see more or hear more from everyday Americans, please put it in the comments section. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe. But let's keep the gloves off and let's stay at it.